Good afternoon, everybody. It's Josh here from Lookin for Games. It is Friday, November 12th, 2021, and it's time for this week's weekly update. Starting with Sunday, our miniature melee segment, we're going to be featuring a game from Weird Games. That's weird with a W-Y, and that's The Other Side. It's a very cool game set in a Victorian era, a little miniatures game. And we're going to have hopefully some tournament play, maybe some casual play, but Miniature Melee will be featuring The Other Side from Weird Games. Also kicking off on Sunday, as usual, our next slate of Lookin for Adventure. DM Steve is going to be stepping in, and he's going to be introducing a campaign called There Will Be an Adventure. So we're looking forward to seeing what that's all about. And then on Thursday, DM Matt and monster hunting, Guild Scouts have located what they believe to be a coven of the wives of the Twilight Grove, and you have been dispatched as an envoy with the goal of learning the secrets of symbiotic magical items. So sounds very exciting. Very cool stuff from the folks at Lookin for Adventure. I should point out, if you haven't had a chance to check out Lookin for Adventure, even if you're not ready to necessarily play, you should come in and maybe just check it out, because these guys have done just an absolute ton of work putting this together. They created an island from scratch. They've created a lot of storylines from scratch. And it's some very, very cool, very creative stuff that our DMs have worked very hard to put these things together. And I'm proud to say that we started from basically just a framework, and they have really taken it on themselves to develop this world set in the 5th edition world of Dungeons and Dragons. So I just want to give a shout out to our DMs, past, present, and future. Thank you for all of your hard work and for making Lookin for Adventure such a great time to participate in. So moving on. For game night this week, we are, of course, in the midst of November. And as I said, we're doing some of our store favorites. And another one of my favorite games is from Starling Games, Everdell. This 2 to 4 player game is an engine builder, worker placement, kind of a city developer. It's a beautiful game. It's got fantastic artwork, very highly competitive game when you get right down to it. And it's a game that's got some real meat on its bones. So it's always cool to see all the different ways that people develop their villages and how they use their villagers and all the different abilities. So Everdell from Starling Games, and that is for game night. Of course, if you missed it last week, or this past week, I should say, we'll also have on table number 2, whatever the previous game was. And for some reason, it is just not popping into my head right now. So we'll have last week's game. It'll be a surprise to us all, apparently. But Everdell this week for game night. Of course, tomorrow night, I should say tonight and tomorrow, we have our Magic the Gathering pre-release weekend. But next week, we'll be bringing back our Saturday tournaments, and the next segment is going to be a Pioneer tournament. So that's a very cool and popular form of Magic the Gathering that we'll be bringing back to the tables on Saturday. As I just said, Crimson Vow. Innistrad Crimson Vow is the next release for Magic the Gathering, and we've got our pre-release weekend going on. Tonight's session starts at 7 o'clock, check in at 6:45, and tomorrow at 1 o'clock, check in at 12:45. We still have just a couple of slots available for tonight's session, and some spaces available for tomorrow. So if you want to get a chance to check out this new Gothic horror set coming from Magic the Gathering, come in and check out Crimson Vow tonight at 7 and tomorrow at 1 o'clock. As I mentioned last week, we are into our next session of Painting with a Purpose. We've gotten a lot of great responses from returning team members. We've gotten some new team members, so that's very exciting. So just want to give you a quick update. I promised the Magic folk and the Yu-Gi-Oh, the Magic Gathering folk and the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game folk, who both did a fantastic job last weekend of raising some extra funds for Extra Life. So I've got some stats here. I want to give those out to you real quickly. Between the Magic the Gathering session, Extra Life event on Friday, and the Yu-Gi-Oh event on Saturday, collectively raised just a little over $1,100. So that brings us up so far this year to a total of $6,231, and that's not even including the monies that are going to be generated from the Painting with a Purpose session. That's totally separate. So a big shout out to our card playing community for their contributions this past weekend. It was really great to see the generosity of both communities jumping in, and quite honestly, the excitement of watching people win things and that kind of thing. Because, not for nothing, but sometimes there's a what's in it for me mode that folks get into, and we wanted to make some good incentives for people, and so it was fun to watch that as well. So the communities came together and really stepped up. Excuse me. So thank you very much. In stock this week from Renegade Game Studios, Scott Pilgrim Miniatures The World. This is a team play game, so you're going to take on one of two roles. You're going to either take on the role of Scott and the good guys, or the League of Evil X's. So very cool little miniatures game. It's actually not a little game. There's a stage, there's board, there's miniatures. So some very cool stuff from Renegade Game Studios. Scott Pilgrim Miniatures The World in stock today. Also just came in this week from Pandasaurus Games. We've talked about this for quite a bit. If you've been watching the update, I've announced this on pre-order for quite a while. Machi Koro 2 from Pandasaurus Games has finally come in. They've added some really cool elements, including some very different and variable ways to set up the game. Every time you play, it's going to be a different game. So it increases the amount of replay value in what is already a really solid format from Machi Koro and the folks at Pandasaurus. I should also mention that I just got a notice just this morning that a new title from them called That Time You Killed Me has also shipped. So those of you that were asking me about that being on pre-order, I haven't even had a chance to put it in the system yet, but that'll go up for pre-order today, and we should probably have copies of that, if not by the end of this week, beginning of next week. Also new in stock, I don't know if you know this, but we carry games for even the tiniest meeples. And by that, I mean our kids in the gaming community. We work with an outfit from Germany called Haba, and Haba makes games that are great for kids, but they're also great for adults to play with the kids. So unlike that time that that 300th time that you've played Candyland or Chutes and Ladders, these are some games that are going to stick with you and give you some great replay value, and it makes it enjoyable for the entire family to be able to sit and play some board games. So we've got a bunch of restocks and some new titles in from Haba Games, and those are available in store today. So I know that we've talked a lot about charity, and November seems like it's kind of developing to be our charity drive month. We're working with the folks at Toys for Tots, and now through December 9th, you're going to be able to drop off a new unwrapped toy or game in the collection box by the register. It doesn't have to be something from our store. We are going to make it available for you to buy some heavily discounted items that you can pop into the box, or some folks just say, just give me 2 of those. I bought one thing, I'll take the second thing, and I put it in the box. So some very wonderful hearts out there donating to the folks and the kids for Toys for Tots. Every little bit helps brighten the holidays for a child in need. So thank you for that, and thank you in advance, I should say. And that's good. That's going to be through December 9th. Now, I know that it doesn't give you a big window, but we really want to try to get that thing filled up as much as we can so that we can have it for the kids for drop off for December 9th. In the queue for this week, Black Friday. As much as I fight it with every essence of my being, the holiday season is rapidly upon us. Once Halloween passes, it only escalates even quicker. So we've got to start planning for Black Friday. So we got some very exciting things. Very similar to what we did last year. We're going to have a whole list of titles that are going to be heavily discounted, and then we're going to have our setup with the D20. If y'all remember that from last year, you're going to be able to roll a D20, and depending on whatever your roll is going to determine a discount on an additional item that isn't already marked down. So we'll be posting that list starting this week once I make the list. I'm just kidding. No, I'm actually not kidding. Okay, so moving on. Black Friday. We're very excited, of course, to be able to offer this every year, and thankful again to our community for all the support that you've given us over the last couple of years as we get into this holiday season. Speaking of the holidays, another holiday coming up very quickly is going to be the end of the year, New Year's Eve. December 31st, we're going to be rolling into 2022, and we'd like you to stop by the store to pick up the details on how to reserve your space for this wonderful event that we're looking forward to. We're going to be running from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m., 6 hours of gaming. We're going to have refreshments, we're going to have a dessert station, we're going to have some very cool New Year's swag for the store and for folks that come in to participate. So again, it's probably gonna get a little like, oh God, here he goes again with New Year's Eve. But we want people to know well in advance so that they can reserve their tables, because we are already starting to get some bookings. So we want to make sure that if you want to be in it, that you stop by the store, because there are so many specific details. We're not listing them on the update as much as we just like you to swing by and get those details. So New Year's Eve. Now we've got, I know that I promised, you're probably like, oh my gosh, I tuned in this week to hear about Kickstarters. Well, there were so many things going on this week that I actually ended up pushing that. So we'll jump into that for next week. But we've got some titles that are coming in stock. I already mentioned That Time You Killed Me. We've got some stuff coming in from Marvel Crisis Protocol, Unfathomable. Wasn't sure if I was going to tell this story, but I will tell it in partiality, only to give a shout out to my sales rep at ACD, who came through for us to make sure that we had copies of this game. So we don't have them yet today, even though today is release date, and I'm a little bummed about that, but we will definitely have them for next week. So a title that, you know, if you've been watching the update, I've been talking about and very excited about, that has been very hyped up. So we're going to have some of that for you for next week, as well as the Yu-Gi-Oh! Release of the El Dorado boxes. This is a supplemental set for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. We got a notice that we probably aren't going to see these until the very last minute. So I'm hoping to have them for next Friday. There was some kind of issue with the printers. There always seems to be some kind of issue with something. But that being said, we will hopefully have them for the release day. We're just not going to have them early as we anticipated, being an OTS store for Yu-Gi-Oh! And for Konami. So that is the update for this week. Of course, if you enjoy our content, please like and subscribe. Feel free to tell others about us, because as I always say, you shouldn't be the only one to suffer. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.